Hey, what if I told you that you can actually use paid ads to make your business profitable? Is that something that would catch your attention? I imagine it would. And that's exactly what I've done in the past. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the secrets behind the strategy and what you can use to help your business learn which paid ads are going to be right for you and how to really scale that strategy and that channel. So we know that in growth, everything that we do is really to identify the channel or channels. Usually you have one or two that are the highest performing that are really going to help make your business profitable and successful. So I want you to go back in time with me about 4 years ago. And during that time, I was being introduced to a company that really needed some help. They were in the fitness management space and they make gym management software. Now, this company had been around since 2017 and the company wasn't profitable yet. They had just been acquired by a Thoma Bravo company. So they were in this really important portfolio for B2B SaaS companies. The problem was they couldn't figure out how to scale their growth. They felt like they had lightning in a bottle. They had paid ads that were actually able to deliver meaningful marketing qualified leads every single week, which on the surface sounds fantastic. But as with anything, if you are overspending for something, you're not actually growing. So they weren't growing profitably. And that was part of the challenge is that the company that had purchased them, the Thoma Bravo portfolio company that had purchased them was saying, hey, it's no longer working for you to keep spending all this money on paid advertising. We're going to cut your spend, or you've got to show us how you can really figure out how to become profitable. And that's exactly where I came in. I had been immediately moved over to a global vice president of growth role inside of the company. And that was my task to figure out. So, how do you do that? How do you help a company that's been spending $350,000 a month on paid advertising for the last 7 years to go into profitability? Well, it's by doing things better. It's not by doing more, it's by getting laser focused. So, here's what we did. First things first, we went into the campaigns and we said, okay, where are we overspending? How can we take all of these campaigns? We brought in an agency who specializes specifically in adjusting paid ads campaigns. And we said, how can we take these campaigns and we can make sure that we get rid of negative keywords and that we regionalize, meaning get really, really focused on the strategy and how we go about things. And so that was kind of the first issue. It was making sure that we looked at this not like a channel, but with a problem that had real judgment layered on top, which was, okay, budgets are not being hit. The quality scores are not working. Our cost per lead is too high. How do we fix all of that? And how do we create a real decision layer for our paid ads to make sure that now and in the future, we know what good looks like? So first, we worked on forecasting. I wanted to understand exactly how many leads were needed. So we identified 550. 550 marketing qualified leads is what we needed out of this engine every single week. That was how we were going to hit our target. And then we could look at the cost per acquisition and most importantly, seasonality. Now, this was something I took to the agency based off of my experience, and I just used the agency to actually execute. You can do this with agencies like mine. You can do this with agencies like the company I used, or you can do this internally. But the important thing is that you focus on the forecasting. What do I mean by that? Well, in the gym management software space, business is very seasonal, okay? The end of the year is quiet. The beginning of the year is really loud. Think about it. New Year's resolutions tend to drive people into the gym when? In the new year. So that first quarter, everything goes way up. And in gym management software, that means that utilization, the number of people who are going to the gym actually brings in more money for the company. So this is when demand is high. People who are owning a gym or who run a gym as a general manager are looking for solutions to help them to manage all of their operations inside of that gym. We call that a strong month. A weak month might look like December, when everybody's down with their focus in holidays and not really thinking about where growth is coming from. So what if you just took all of your paid ads and you treated every single month the same? What would you do? You'd overspend. And that's exactly what they were doing. So the very first thing I did is I said, let's take seasonality and apply it to the business. Let's make sure that we understand exactly which months are going to be weak and which months are going to be strong. Then we went one level deeper. After applying those negative keywords and a seasonality in the forecasting, we went one layer deeper to say, okay, we know that paid ads are for the bottom of the funnel. They're to convert people over, but we're not doing the best job right now on what I call conquest campaigns, which is telling people why us versus someone else. So I went and I took the top 10 companies that we were competing against and I built out landing pages one-on-one against each and every single one of them. That effort alone drove an increase in our performance because now we were able to show people exactly why they would want to consider us versus someone else. And at the bottom of the funnel, which is what a paid ads effort is going to be, that's what people are doing. They're choosing between you and your competition. Let's go one level deeper. On top of that, we also said, okay, how do we make sure that anybody who is inside of our paid ads campaign kind of focus and structure can continue to be helpful for us? What do I mean by that? I mean by that you have in paid ads an opportunity to do Google ads, but you don't have to stop there. You can do Meta ads, you can do Bing ads, you can do YouTube ads. And inside the gym management space, because gyms can be really large, like the Planet Fitnesses of the world, or really small, like your hometown CrossFit gym, you have people who act more like consumers. So think about that for a second from a paid ads perspective. That means that you can go into channels that you might not have thought about in the B2B SaaS space. Most people think about, oh, I've got to just use Google. But no, if you're actually looking at people like potential consumers, YouTube ads and Meta ads can be huge opportunities, and they were. In fact, in a similar organization that I helped, who was a direct competitor to this company, I helped them increase 168% growth in just 5 months. And a big part of that strategy was doing Meta ads. I already knew that it would work, right? Because I had already done it, and I applied that strategy. Now, here's another opportunity for you to think about. What about this? You've maximized everything that you can get from a Google perspective. And you're looking at your bottom of the funnel and you go, okay, Catherine, that's great. I've already got conquest campaigns. I've already added seasonality to my forecast. I'm already making sure that my paid ads have, no poorly positioned negative keywords. Like, what else can I do? Glad you asked. So what else you can do is you can say, okay, I want to make sure that I start to go into other areas besides just Google. Now, I talked about that from the meta perspective, but what about an easy one like Bing? You might say, well, nobody really searches on Bing, and you'd be potentially right, but that's exactly why it can be a massive opportunity for you. Same with Capterra and G2. They recently all converged. What I mean by it is if you're looking at places where your competitors are not, you have a massive opportunity to get in leads for a very low cost. So Bing was a great strategy to go into as well. And then we were very careful because remember, we needed to bring in those 550 marketing qualified leads per week. We were very careful to make sure that we didn't make these big swings on Google. So you can't go spend, again, with a $350,000 a month ad budget. You can't go spend a massive amount and then scale it back down and spend a tiny amount. Google's going to penalize you for that. And so to be able to make up those weak and strong months, I just went into the other areas, the Meta ads, the Bing ads, the the G2 or Capterra ads, and kept Google where it was. And so that allowed us to fix and account for the seasonality while also expanding our reach. And what happened? Within 4 months, we created $84,000 of profitability. $84,000 of profitability for a company that had never been profitable for the last 8 years. It was a massive opportunity. And it's one that I feel like you can use directly in your business. Think now about your company. Where do you notice you have strong and weak months? How can you be intelligent and thoughtful about your paid ads and invest more during your weak months and less in your strong months? What I mean by that is the people who are looking and driving demand for your product during your strong months, that's where the cost per lead is going to be inexpensive and the return is going to be high. So you need to take that money from there and invest it in the months where you're weaker and the demand is weaker. That strategy alone can really help you. Then you can also, like I said, think about expanding your bottom of the funnel to other channels. Meta, Bing, G2, Capterra, those are all awesome opportunities for you to do more with an existing group of working scenarios and strategies. So remember, when you think about paid ads, there's a massive opportunity there to really understand and forecast for your business. These are not hacks. These are things that you can do that are thoughtful, intelligent, and strategically driven to increase your metrics and improve your profitability. For me, that's growth actually. And I hope for you, it's really helpful as you think about your business and ways that you can scale and grow. I hope this has been helpful and have a wonderful day.